Hi, my name is Hannah Stockwell, and today I'd like to talk with you a little bit about a few marketing management suggestions that I believe will improve Anderson University's mathematics finance major. I have already sent in my paper that details all of the things I'll talk about in more detail, but I wanted to talk with you about the suggestions as well. And so the mathematics finance major, I'd like to talk a little bit about its history. The major was created around 2014-2015 by Dr. Courtney Taylor, who had in mind actuarial science as a career that this major could lead to. That's not the only career that it can lead to. It could also lead to a career in banking, corporate finance, financial planning, financial analysis. And you probably know about most of those career options, but you might not know about actuarial science. So I'm going to take a moment here to tell you about actuarial science. Actuarial science is a career in which actuaries help companies to understand and prepare for future financial risk. And in order to become a certified actuary, a person will take 5 to 10 exams from one of two organizations which certify actuaries. And this is a long process. However, most employers expect only that a potential candidate would have passed 1 to 3 exams and has done an actuarial internship before being hired. And then the employer will usually help to pay for future study materials and exam fees. The exam fees, by the way, for the first 2 exams are $250 each. And there is a less than 50% pass rate on those exams, which gives you an indication of how difficult that certification process is. So back to the math finance major. The math finance major is part of the math department's offerings, and the Anderson University's math department is very small. It consists of 3 professors, and the major has brought in less than 5 students for that major, and it has been marketed very, very minimally. And so I believe that probably very few people, even on Anderson University's campus, know about the major. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about a few of the competitors for Anderson University's actuarial program. Those competitors are Indiana Wesleyan University, Taylor University, Ball State University, and Purdue University. And I discuss some of the differences between those universities in my paper, but it's important to realize that Anderson University and the other Christian universities, Indiana Wesleyan and Taylor, are in many ways similar. There's not one that stands out, and Ball State and Purdue University are kind of in their own field. They have so many more resources, and AU is not going to have more resources than them. That is just true. I would like to talk about, so one of the things that Purdue University has is that they have an exam reimbursement program. I talked about those exams being $250 for the first 2, and so Purdue University pays back students for past attempts at that exam, which is hugely significant. So we've talked about kind of the history and present situation of the Anderson University math finance major. So next, I'd like to touch on the 3 specific problems that I see currently with the major. The first being that, I've already touched on it, it has an awareness problem. It's not been marketed, and so very few people know about it, especially not the people who need to know about it. I identify the primary markets as being high school students in upper level math classes and transfer students from other universities' actuarial science programs. The second problem that I'd like to point out is that there are other schools that have a competitive advantage. I talked about Purdue. Purdue has a competitive advantage. So does Ball State, so does Butler. But Anderson University doesn't really. It doesn't stand out from the other Christian universities in a significant way. The third problem that I'd like to discuss is that the major is not clearly applicable to actuarial science. The name of the major is mathematics finance, which does not make me think of actuarial science immediately. And then the description is also not very clear about the applicability of the major to actuarial science, which is a problem. And with those problems and the company history in mind, I'd like to now discuss the 6 solutions that I have that I believe will improve Anderson University's math finance major. The first 3 of these solutions deal with improving the program itself, and the last 3 deal with marketing the improved program. So the first that I recommend is that AU make sure that they have demonstrated to the SOA, one of the organizations which certifies actuaries, that they have classes that fulfill their validation by educational experience. I talk about that more in the paper, but that's the first suggestion. Make sure that AU shows that the classes that they already have fulfill the SOA's expectations. The second suggestion is that AU implement an exam reimbursement program for the first 2 actuarial exams. They have a similar program already in the engineering department that I talk about more in my paper, but I wanted to just mention. The third suggestion is that they change the name of the major to Actuarial Science and Finance in order to clearly link it with actuarial science and show that there are other career options that the major could lead to. Now, moving on to more of the marketing side of things, now that we have an improved and rebranded major, it's so important that it is marketed, that people know about it, or else no one will know that it's a great program with a competitive advantage. So this marketing part is very important. And first, I suggest that Anderson University make posts on Facebook and Twitter about the newly rebranded major, kind of tapping into the new excitement of, we have a new major. That is exciting. And so I suggest that they make posts on those platforms. I believe that the posts would be consistent with what they're already posting there. And next, I suggest that AU put up 3 billboards. I talk about the specifics of where I believe those should go and how much to expect those to cost in the paper. But this is an important step because this is what tells the general public that we have a newly rebranded actuarial science program. And so the Facebook and Twitter posts talk more to an audience which already knows about Anderson University, and the billboards reach out to everyone in the area. And the last suggestion that I'd like to touch on is that once the excitement of the newly rebranded major is kind of past, and hopefully new students are coming in interested in this major, I suggest that those students go and visit local high schools, specifically the upper level math classes there, and talk about what is an actuary. This might be a career field that you might be interested in, and also talk about their experience at Anderson University and answer any questions that those students might have. And this, I believe, goes directly to the people that I believe that have the most to gain from hearing the information, and talked with them face to face, which is so much more significant than seeing a billboard or a Facebook or Twitter post. Those things are important, but I believe that this last suggestion will have the biggest impact in the future. And note that we've covered, hopefully, that all these solutions fix the problems that I pointed out. That there was an awareness problem, or marketing, that we now have a competitive advantage with those first three solutions I discussed. And then we have made it more clear that the math finance major, or I guess now the actuarial science and finance major, is applicable to actuarial science. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to discuss this with you further, and thank you for listening.